What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is MJ. Today we're going to talk about something that the good people over at Dehancer allow me to test out, and that is Dehancer Desktop. So if you like film emulation, analog photography, cinematic looks, stick around. We're going to talk about why this software can get you there like that. If you've never used Dehancer, let me go over it for you real quickly. Dehancer is a film emulation software that allows you to convert your digital photography into a more analog, cinematic feel that you would get if you actually shot on film. Now, the best thing about that is that it's non-destructive, so you can actually start, stop, change, do whatever it is that you'd like to do on this software, and it handles it with ease. So let's get into it, see what this software is hitting for. So now that we've actually opened up the Dehancer Desktop, you can see that it has a minimalist UI, right? That's because you actually haven't populated all your photos. But let's go into your drives, and then we can get started with our photos here. So I already have a folder where I have pictures. And just like any other platform, it populates all your photos. So now that we've populated the photos, we actually have to select which ones we want to edit, right? So let's just go here and we'll actually select two photos. And there's a reason why I'm selecting more than one photo. Let's see, which one do we want to actually edit out of this? All right, let's just select those two. So now we add a project, we add it to a project, or we can create a new project. So this is something that we're going to do from scratch here. So we'll just call this Dehancer Edits, right? So now you have your two photos. It created your project for you. Press Command A so that it knows exactly which photos you want to work with in your project, and then you press Enter. Now that we're in the UI, you can see what it looks like. It's a little bit more detailed. You have all your presets that are on one side, and then you have all your modules that you can change whatever features you want about the photo to create that natural cinematic look. You can do that right there. So let's actually choose a film stock. I normally choose one of the Fuji films, but I want to try something different. So let's go and choose.
A few moments later.
Actually, no. I think I'm gonna stay with what I like the best, really, and that's the Fuji Reeler because I like the way this creates this look. It creates a nice contrast to it. So we're gonna stick with the Fuji Reeler. Just like Lightroom or any other program, you have your regular settings. You know, your tint, your exposure. Now, because this is a preset, this is an auto exposure. So if there's anything that you don't like, you know, you can always alter it. So let's just say I want to add a little bit more light. I can do so. As you make your changes, it does so and it shows whatever changes that you have done to the picture. You have your pre-grade that you can set here, and you can also preserve your highlights here too as well. And that's what the photo looks like with those changes. So that's what I like about it so far. And we're gonna leave it just as is. As far as the crop is concerned, I want to do a freeform crop. Just want to change this here on the bottom. And I also just want to take a little bit off the top too. And once you make your changes to it, this will be your new photo. I like the way that looks. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay. So now going down all the settings. Me personally, I say one of the first things that you would actually touch, or you should have touched, I should say, is probably your expand because that sets the limits for your black point and your white point so that anything that you do when you alter your photo, it affects this. The only way to really see that is if you have this clipping sign on, and right now it's on. So let's just say I change the black point to something else here. You can see where I'm clipping with my blacks. So I really don't want to do that. As much as I like to crush the blacks, I don't want to do that. And I like the fact that they give you that option within the photo. So that's there. The white point is pretty good as well. So that's all I'll really change. So that's a keynote. If you start with anything, start with the expand. All right. Now you have your film profile, which you've already chosen. If you've already developed film, or if you haven't, you could use push or pull to swing the photo a little bit more if you want. Me, I'll probably just pull it a little bit more on that side, but it's nothing too drastic. You also have your source, which is also more about defringing and exposure compensation, temperature compensation. I'm not really going to touch anything because I like the way the photo is looking. You have your film developer, which I could add a little bit more contrast to it just to give it a raw look to it, a deeper look. That's about the only thing that I would want to change. The film compression also has to do with highlight roll off. I like the way the highlights are looking on here. You can see the clouds, see the separation on the clouds there. But because I have an ND filter, you see these little blue fringes over here, but it's not detrimental. Then you also have your print. This is probably one of the most important things to it. Now, when you use your print, because this is a Kodak film emulation, you can choose between the Kodak gloss, which also now crushes your shadows. I don't want to do that. I could choose a Fujifilm, but it's going to give it a slight different look to it. And if you notice from before and after what it does, I like what it did with the water. I like how the water has a deep blue touch to it. So I just might do that. And if I choose that, now I have to go back to my expand and I have to bring down the black point. So now we are not clipping. So that's pretty good. I like the way that's looking. You also have your color head, which wasn't selected because this is a preset, but with this is more of a subtractive thing, like the colors that you don't really want in there. Let's say you want less blue or whichever, you can move it in the opposite direction. And for this, it gives more of a golden touch to it, which I like. And let's actually take out some of that green, put a little bit more magenta, so just a tad, and it gives a different look to it. I like the way that's looking with it right there. That's probably all I'll touch. One of the most important features that I feel is in this software is film grade, because these imperfections that you have in the photograph really gives that analog look. For this, I would probably go with the 35 millimeter ISO 500. One of the downsides that I don't like about it is that you're not able to edit the preset 35 ISO 500. That's just set as is. You would actually have to go to custom, and whatever it is that you want to change, you can just change it from here. Let's just say I want to add the a bigger grain to it and a little bit more to it just to give a real film look. That's probably the only thing that I'll do to it right there. For halation, the sun is there, but it's not really shining as much as I would like it to give that glow, to give that yellowish look to the glow. And then you also have your bloom, which there's no hard direct light source to it, but it also adds to the photo, but it gives a certain look to it. Now you have your film damage, which really has to do with the imperfections that I like. I would actually check off the dust and leave the hairs enabled. Probably add a little bit more. But like I said, I like the imperfections within a photo. It just really gives that analog look to it. So the hairs I'd probably turn up, and also the scratches. I'd also want a lot of scratches on the photo. It just gives that timeless look to the photo, in my opinion. Then you have the overscan, which really just creates the gates on the side of the photo. It's an artistic look. Me personally, I wouldn't do it, but if I was to, I would choose the Ultra Panavision. That just gives that look of five different slim shots on there. And like I said, it's a creative choice. And if I really wanted to scale it out like that, I'd probably push it up just a little bit more and just put it more like that. So that could even be a cover shot right there if you really wanted to use it that way. But I don't plan on using the overscan. And then you have the vignetting. So the vignetting is there. Let's just turn down the exposure on this a little bit and turn down the size of the vignetting. And there we go. Like the way that's looking. You can play with the settings towards your taste, feather it off a little bit, and it's nice. So now we have focus actually on the model and everything that's going on with that. And that's the final look for the photo. Now, the great thing about this is that if you feel like you've done too much to it or you don't like it, it feels too intense, you can always change the impact. This is what it will look like if you bring it down. I'll probably just leave it to about 85 because all the changes that I made were intentional. So that's there. You see the before and you see the after or what it looked like. So that's what I really like about this. Just like that, you created a nice filmic look. And this also works for DaVinci where they have the plugin on the inside. So don't forget about that. Um, One of the other good things about this program is that you have a snapshot. So let's just say I have this photo, and let's say I take a snapshot of it, right? And with that, I want to take out the corrections that I made to the color head. I want to take out the film grade. I want to take out the halation, and I want to take out the bloom. And let's just say the film damage. So all of those things I selected, I want to take off, right? So now when I have the photo, I have a different photo right here. And all I can do is take another snapshot of this. It saves it on the side. And now I can alternate between the two. But since this was an intentional, I think I would actually go back to the original and what was there. So that's what I'm going to keep for the photo, right? So let's go ahead and export this current image. Since this is just one image that we edited, we go and export it. Now, this is another con to it that I disliked is that you can't actually change the resolution, and certain platforms don't allow you to put a higher megabyte file. So you can't actually change the resolution on this. So that's one thing that Dehancer, I would hope that you guys actually change and implement that on a new update. So this is the beginner software. So if you're watching this, don't be afraid of it. There'll be a lot of different updates that'll come towards the platform. So once you have that, you process your photo. Takes about 10 seconds depending on your computer. Once you finish with that, you can go on to whatever else that you'd like to do. So now it's finished. We close. But I want to show you one thing too. Let's just say I want to apply those edits to another photo without having to do the same steps. All I have to do is right click, apply it to the film strip. And then when I go into the other photo itself, it has all the edits already there for me. And just like that, we have a new photo. I actually like this one a little bit better because you can see all the scratches, the more detailed scratches here. It just gives a certain look to it. Let's go ahead and export that image as well into the same folder. We process it, go through the same process, and it's done. All right, so now that we finished that, we can actually apply all our edits to our photos, and it's saved. And just like that, we have just created a film emulation using Dehancer Desktop. So that was very easy. 1, 2, 3. You have your customizable modules, and you can do exactly that in no time. Now, the biggest question that people always talk about is pricing. So let's go to Dehancer's website, and we can talk about pricing. So as a creator, I would probably choose the studio version because it comes with a lot of other plugins you can use. If you subscribe, it has DaVinci, Final Cut, Photoshop, Lightroom, Affinity, Capture One, all those different goodies that you have. And of course, I'll give you guys a code that you can use to get 10% off. You can actually use the code down below. It'll be in the description as well. So that'll be Jones Collective 10. Once you apply that code, it'll turn it from $588 to $529. And if you feel like that's too much for you, but even though you're getting a lot with that, so I would actually choose that one. But if you feel that's too much, you can just get Dehancer Desktop by itself, buy the lifetime package for $449. Once again, you can do the same thing. You could actually use the code Jones Collective 10. And once you've applied that, it will turn from $449 to $404. So now you have choices to get your package deal. Me personally, like I said, I would choose the Studio one, but that's up to you. The code will be down below for your use. So with Dehancer, I'd say that you're getting a lot for what you're paying for. You get a lot of options. Film emulation is something that we all strive to do. Me personally, where is it here? Me personally, I like to shoot on my Konica or Konica, as some people like to call it. So I understand what it's like to get that image that you're looking for, and this actually has all the things that you can create a nice film emulation with. So if you guys have any questions about the program, or if you like to talk about the program, drop your questions and comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget, stay creative. Peace.